Look at that, dude. Beautiful. Oh, man, it's stuff like that that's just like you have to kind of sit with this. Like I'm gonna go back to this book again and kind of sit through it myself and kind of stare at some pieces for like 30 minutes straight. As you know, we are huge fans of Simon Bisley on this channel, and I want to take a look at Bisley's, in my opinion, magnum opus. The best thing he's ever done, in my opinion, from what I've seen. And the reason why I say that is because I'm actually not super familiar with Slane, but the things that I've seen from it, the pages I've seen and the panels I've seen, it's just beautiful, beautiful stuff. And I think it's Bisley really putting everything on the page. Um, there are some Bisley comics that I've seen that seemed like they were very rushed. This seems like he was just taking his time, and I'm not saying he wasn't having a great time with those other books that he had done, but this feels like kind of his love letter to like a Frank Frazetta. It was like somebody at 2000 AD was like, "You can do a fantasy series," and he was like, "Right on. I'm gonna give it all I have." So this is a new release from 2000 AD. It's an anniversary edition, and it's amazing. As you can see, I've changed my setup just for this video, but I mean, it's a beautiful size. I don't know the exact size on it, but it feels like 11 by 17. It feels like something that if you were to make comics, you'd be working in 11 by 17, and this feels like true to size. Let's take a look at the back before we open it up. And we have this beautiful sketch on the back and kind of like a synopsis and an anniversary and whatever. But I'm so happy I picked this up. This is one that I actually forgot existed. So let's open this up. Let's take a look at this. And I'm so happy that 2000 AD stuff is actually being printed in the States finally, because some of it's really difficult to get. And it's some of the best comics out there. Let's take a look at it. And here we go. So we open up and we have a map and then this beautiful splash page. Now, I believe Bisley is working in watercolor here, but I'm not entirely sure about that. And the moment I open this up, the first thing I think to myself is Corbin. You can clearly tell Bisley loves Corbin because there's so many similarities to Corbin. It's crazy, but he also puts his own unique style on it and uses beautiful shapes to represent. He has beautiful shape designs to represent, I mean, things like arms and heads and just great stuff. And of course, we have to open up with a dragon because dragons are super rad. And how can you have a fantasy story without a dragon? It's like having a sci-fi story without a rad spaceship. I love this composition here. Beautiful composition. When anybody can do composition, I mean, that's what I feel like separates a great comic book artist from an average comic book artist, is composition. And to really understand composition, you have to look at fine art, because fine artists are some of the best when it comes to composition, because that's how you represent a story through a single picture. And what Bisley's doing is he's using all of that and telling a story through comics. And it's just amazing. Amazing stuff. I really love his color choices. It's very muted color choice, which I think goes great for what seems like this very, terrifying world, Beautiful stuff. And I love that panel there. That sort of creepy smile going on there. I love whenever an artist can do beautiful expressions. Trying to get everything on the page. It's a little difficult. I'm trying to get that sweet spot there. So hopefully you're not missing anything. Whenever you get these big books, they're difficult. Man, I love that. I love that figure drawing there. Um, just such a dynamic pose. And then you sort of get this very foreshortened character here. Again, beautiful composition, doing some really interesting stuff in the back, kind of doing these characters with no expression and no face. It's kind of a very terrifying looking art trick he's doing there. And then, of course, we get these beautiful pages here. So much detail. I love that armor, the weight of the armor, the just beautiful work. I'm gonna say beautiful a lot, or really cool a lot, but it's true. I love like the little details with the heads on the spikes. You know, we're dealing with a tough guy here, and then we get this just amazing anatomy, great shape design. It's all there. He's adding bits and pieces of anatomy. He's doing the thing like the showing the veins popping out. Just very and then we get kind of like a throwback to a Frazetta here. Yeah, that's like a Frazetta painting right there. And this is comics. This is what's happening in comics. He's doing this in comic books. Great storytelling. I love how he just not a lot going on here composition wise, but he's saving that cool composition for later. And obviously two people having a conversation, it's very difficult to show on the page, but Bisley does a beautiful job with expression and movement and slightly, changing the camera angle or changing the angles of the head. Yeah, it's great stuff. And we get this beautiful piece here. I love that. Sort of Dutch angle, 1 point perspective. Oh, man. Wow. Oh, man. Look at that. Drawing the back muscles. Very difficult to draw the back. But he's got it down. He's absolutely a master. I love that, like, foreshortened, the heads taking over the traps. And then you get that. So good. I love how he's mixing like the orange and the blues. He's like using the colors that work together, like purples and golds, reds and blues, purples. It's just, yeah. It's like you're looking at somebody who understands art as much as somebody possibly can. Again, I always say this about a lot of the comics I look at, but I couldn't imagine being a kid buying comics at the time and seeing this stuff, and just it would have blown my mind. I feel like comics are so boring now, and I hate to be that old man who's like, oh, back in my day, gas was a quarter a gallon, but it's true, or 25 cents a gallon. It's true. Like, I don't feel like people want to put this much love into comics. And I don't know if it's the fact that people just don't believe in comics anymore. I don't know, but man, I mean, just what a fucking amazing work of art we're looking at here. And it's so cool to see it at this size. If you don't, and 2000 AD is not paying me. I wish they were. And not giving me free stuff. I wish they were. I had to buy this with my own money, and I'm so happy I did, because I just adore. I wish that they would do this with everything. Yeah, and I mean, look at the. I mean, just it looks like the paint is like drying up. It's like I feel like I can feel it. You get that piece of paper and it's just like, kind of, it's wet, and then it has like that crinkle. Man. I mean, he's doing stuff that, like, again, this would be a painting. for like a fine artist. And he's doing this in comics. I don't know how long it took. Man, look at that. I think we found our thumbnail there. That's definitely our thumbnail there. I mean, my goodness. Look at that. I look at that and then I mean, you got these two beautiful pieces right, pretty much right next to each other. And just, not pretty much, they are right next to each other. Imagine being this good. I dream about being this good. You got these beautiful gestures here, great anatomy. I love that he's kind of just, he doesn't care about the amount of details. And you see like kind of like, he's got some Frazetta stuff going on here with his shading, just using simple hatch lines and cross contours. I mean, come on, that's pretty much Death Dealer. Let's be honest. I don't. This has to be before he went on and did the stuff for Verotic. So eventually he goes on and does Death Dealer, which we did a video on, which you should check out on this channel. I mean, even stuff like that, just so cool. Like he's using. I haven't talked about his use of shadow and lights. I mean, just you have this black form here with the red eyes, and then you have a little bit of light on top. I mean, it's just like he's using that. I mean, his ability to understand light, it's just amazing. Yeah, I mean, look at how striking that green is. And there's such a flowy feel to his work. It feels like sometimes like he's noodling sometimes, which is pretty crazy to me. But yeah. Man. Gorgeous. Gorgeous work. Man, I adore this stuff. I really do. By the way, if you're a fan of Bisley and you're still watching, what's your favorite Bisley comic? Put it in the comments below. I mean, he also draws beautiful, beautiful women. Great women. And then you get these like very interesting like black and white pieces with the red. I adore it. I mean, look at that cool perspective there. That's such a beautiful piece there. I mean, that even looks like a Boris Vallejo kind of piece there, which I'm sure he probably was looking at his work as well. Man, look at that. Look how cool that is. Beautiful. I mean, every page is so striking. There's just so much. There's not a single boring panel in this book. It just doesn't exist. I mean, imagine being Pat Mills and getting this back. And just being like, yep. Oh, man, look at that. Hopefully you guys pick this book up because it is very nice. And Bisley's doing it all. He's doing, oh, look at that. He's doing all the penciling. He's doing all the inking. He's doing all the coloring. He's doing it all. I just love when he does stuff like this. Like, this just feels so cinematic to me. You know, he could have very easily just made this straight, but just kind of moving that angle is just, that's the stuff that separates, in my opinion, and I mean, look at the masters from the amateurs. Look at that. Look at those back muscles, those triceps. I mean, my goodness. I love how he has some kind of, like, the proportions a little bit off. That dude has a ginormous head, but I love looking at imperfections. Like, I feel like somebody in digital would just kind of make that smaller. And remember, he's working traditionally here. Look at that. That is in some guy's head, and he puts that on paper. I also love that this book is not on glossy paper. It's on like this matte paper. And I adore it because you don't get that stupid fucking light bouncing off of it. Yeah, look at that. Such a creative artist. I know I'm going to say a lot of the same stuff over and over again, but man, look at the lighting there. Man, like half the face is lit and the other half is dark. It just looks so good. I would be terrified to add that much paint to something like that because I feel like it would screw it up. But Bisley's just like, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. And then I love how he has like the shape design going here, like far away. He's doing like this far away, um, I guess composition, and he's just using like shapes there. There's not a lot of dimension going on there. There is, but it seems like he's using symbols to represent, a guy standing there, and he can do beautiful stuff like that. I mean, the amount of time and effort that went into this. Man, just the colors that he's using. There had to have been a lot of, I mean, look at that. Look how beautiful that is. The lighting there makes it look so realistic. The amount of experimenting he must have done off the page to get what needed to be done on the page. I mean, there's probably, I mean, yeah, the amount of paper he probably went through and supplies he went through to get that perfect. I mean, but maybe I doubt he was going right on the page, but maybe he was. I don't know. Maybe he was. I love that blue. And it's just, oh man. I don't know what he's working. I would assume it's watercolor, right? But it could be oil. It could be. I don't know. I don't know enough about. My problem is I don't know enough about color materials. My strong suit is penciling and inking. More penciling than inking. Even inking, I'm not as well versed. So, but I'm not. I don't know what he's using for color. Maybe he is using. I don't know. Some pieces feel like watercolor. Some feel like oil. I don't know. I'm sure somebody in the comments can be like, "No, dummy, it's this," and I'm gonna be like, "Oh, okay." I'm not one of these people who acts like I know everything. I really don't. I just kind of take what I have knowledge of arts and kind of, like I can see a good composition without even having to be a good artist. Like you can see a good composition, but you don't understand why it works the way that it does if you don't have the understanding of composition. Beautiful stuff. I mean, that's a Frazetta right there. It feels like a Frazetta. Man. And then there's some pieces I feel like Mobius, or like Juliet. Or it's just, man, I love that face there. Beautiful. And like the teeth look normal. It doesn't look stupid. It doesn't look like there's too many teeth. Man, look at that. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Hmm. And I just love like he's just doing so much experimenting with paint. Not a lot of backgrounds going on, by the way, in some of these. Like he's just got kind of like a simple chest here, and then maybe like some pillars or something like that. And then okay, I have an idea where I am. But I love this background piece here. It's like a building. Yeah, man. That's like a Barry Windsor Smith fucking Weapon X right there, but at a different perspective. Love that. Love the arms kind of going up. I mean, the gestures. So, I mean, like, he's like going down that curve and then he's going up there. So he's going boom, boom, boom. Yeah. But look at that. I love that light coming down, and then you have like this darkness in the foreground. Man, wow, 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 wow. I know that I should be skipping pages because I want you to pick it up yourself, but I want you to pick it up yourself if you're an artist to really look at it. Because I can show you in video and it looks cool and it looks good, but like you should really get a copy yourself so you can kind of study it and analyze it yourself. Because when you own something like this, you can sit with it and really kind of pinpoint, you know, what really points out to you. It's like what's important for you to want to become an artist. And I look at Bisley stuff, and every time I look at Bisley stuff, it just makes me want to draw and get better. I mean, you have this beautiful form here and these deltoids going into that bicep, into that forearm, that and those beautiful forearm muscles, and like that top forearm muscle has its own form separated from the middle of that bone there, and then behind that bone you have that form, but it's like in shadow. It's like little things that you can pick up from that. And then he's using kind of cross contour or hatching there, and then he's using, solid shadow. It's just beautiful stuff. And then you get something like this that seems a little bit more flat, and less form. I don't know. Like it's interesting. It's like it's weird, but it feels like he's like it's consistent, but sometimes it feels like he maybe was rushed for time, or maybe he felt like he wanted to do something a little bit more experimental here. And then you have a beautiful, beautiful panel here, man. And just, man, I love these close-ups. Like the teeth aren't like perfectly aligned. There's like maybe a tooth that's a little more jagged, or maybe not as straight. I'm assuming he's using reference. I mean, look at that, and the lettering. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What an absolute master. Look at that, dude. Beautiful. Oh, man, it's stuff like that that's just like, you have to kind of sit with this. Like, I'm going to go back to this book again and kind of sit through it myself and kind of stare at some pieces for like 30 minutes straight, an hour straight, because you can learn so much. I mean, look at the solidness of that deltoid there and the shadow under the deltoid. It's just beautiful stuff. Don't want to miss anything here. Sometimes I tend to focus on a single piece and then I kind of miss something that is just as impressive. Not like anything else in here isn't as impressive as this, but, obviously there's an eye-catching panel there. That seems like a Conan right there, like a Conan ripoff right there. Yeah. Wow. Man, look at that barrel-shaped chest there. That beautiful Bridgman barrel-shaped chest. Ah, I love it. I love looking at it in action. Man. It's so funny because some of this stuff feels a bit cartoony. And then you get into this stuff. Beautiful, beautiful panels there. I don't know how many. Imagine seeing that. Imagine seeing that on the shelf. Or on the newsstand. Come on, you would absolutely pick that up. For sure, you would. I mean, you watched this video, so I'm assuming you would pick that up. And then we go back, and there's just, I love how he uses like little shapes in the back to represent more people. Oh, man. I love that back muscle going into the arm, and then you get that chest. He's got it all done. There's one of the pieces that he does where, I don't know if it's going to be in this book, but it's a slain piece where like his pec is directly connected to the arm, and it's just, it looks funny, but it's how anatomy works. Man, look at that. That reminds me of that dude who does all the art for Iron Maiden. I forget his name. But man, so cool. I love the faces too. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that piece there. Wow. That's all I can say is wow. Because it's just fucking like Owen Wilson over here. But my goodness. Man, I love that. Oh, I just love the different compositions he's doing. I saw something that really stuck out to me there. Man. Hmm. And look how fucking roided out he is. That looks like what's his name? Was it Steven? Is it Steven Platt? Man, beautiful, beautiful stuff. Oh man, it gets better. Mm. Again, love that use of color there. Come on, this is, oh man, look at the amount of detail that's on this page here. Take a look at that page for a second. It's kind of stewing it for a minute. A lot of great expressions. A lot of great composition. A lot of different camera angles. Great perspective. Great anatomy. I mean, this is great color. I mean, this is just a masterclass on how you just draw so beautifully. Man, look at that. I really do wish I knew the amount of time that he took on each page. You know, there's such a love for Bisley in the comic book world, and I understand why. He is just doing the shit that you wish you could do. You know what I mean? Unless you're, I mean, but my goodness, it's just, man. I don't want to knock anybody's artistic ability because there's probably some great artists out there, but man, it's just like, it feels like Bisley's just doing the shit we all want to do. You know, beautiful, man. I really do wish I knew the year on this. I don't know the year on this, or where it is in the timetable when he had done other stuff. Like I said, I'd seen this. I've seen panels and pieces from this, and it blew me away. It's like, this is the best thing I've seen Bisley do. The best thing that Bisley has done, in my opinion. I've seen like the Judge Dredd and Batman stuff, but this stuff really shines, in my opinion. Yeah, look at those back muscles there. Just, man. And it's funny because you get like simple things here, like that foot looks really simple. There's not a lot of detail on that foot, but then you get down here and there's just so much anatomy going there. That's a great piece there. That looks like a Frazetta piece as well. Man. You know, yeah, it's just, wow. I love that there, and I love that. And I love that. I mean, I love it all. Everything on this page is, man, love the shape design there. And the shading. That's great there too. You're gonna hear me say great a lot. But and it's funny because it's like this, you know, some of this stuff feels like a Corbin piece. It's funny. And he's doing a lot of cool stuff with panels. He really is. Um, you know, and it's like you're working in 11 by 17, I would assume. And I mean, like a small panel like that, and the amount of detail he's putting in a small panel like that is just really great stuff. And then we are at the end. And then look at that beauty. Wow. I would definitely say pick this up. Sit with it yourself. Get close to it. You got to bring out a magnifying glass to it. And just that's the piece that I'm talking about where the pec connects directly to the arm. It's very weird looking, but it man. Oh, let me get some oh, and Lobo is the big thing I know he did for a while. I don't know if this is before or after Lobo. But man. Look at that stuff there. Mm. So I'm wondering if this is like bits and pieces from it, and there's like a whole. I'm assuming there's like a whole comic series. So I'm wondering if this is just like pieces that they managed to take out. I'm not sure, but I don't like I said I don't know enough about this because this isn't your typical U.S. release. So very hard to get your hands on. Not a simple series to get. Hopefully they do a reprint. Hopefully there's enough demand for them to want to do a reprint, but I feel like we're starting to get. I do love this panel. This is probably going to be my thumbnail, so I'll leave it on this. If this is all you came for, this is the end of it, so I appreciate you watching, but I'm going to ramble a little bit more. So thank you. I appreciate it. I really do hope that we get more releases like this because we're getting Corbin finally. I feel like 2000 AD has finally seen that people other than Europeans want their work and their comics. And now what we got to figure out is how we can get a heavy metal omnibus. If they could just put the single issues, like 25 issues per omnibus or something, that would make me very, very happy. But I imagine there would be there would probably be legal issues with that, I'm sure. But yeah, this is just, I was really excited for this release, but I forgot about it, and I thought that it was going to be that it was releasing later. I thought it was going to come out sometime in like December or something, but it came out in, I believe, end of July. So it's readily available. Amazon has it. If they don't have it in your country, like if you can't get it, like if you live somewhere, you probably go to Amazon US and get it delivered to you. You might have to pay like an insane shipping fee, but I definitely think this is worth it for sure, especially if you're an artist, because Bisley stuff is so inspiring. It's beautiful, beautiful stuff. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's like Frazetta is still alive, and he is it's like, as I've read some of those early, well, I haven't read, but I've seen some of those early Frazetta comics that he was doing before he was a fantasy artist. And it's kind of like your typical stuff that was coming out at the time. And occasionally you'd get like a fantasy story, but I feel like Simon Bisley kind of was like, oh, I'm a huge fan of Frazetta, and I'm just gonna make comics as though Frazetta was making them. I could be completely wrong about that. Frazetta could have made some insane fantasy comics, but I'm not sure if he did. I think he kind of got into that single fine art piece feel and kind of just wrote it to the end. But Bisley was sort of doing it in comics. Not sort of, he was doing it in comics. And man, is it so cool. And like, I love stuff. Like, you got like Bill Sienkiewicz stuff going on there where there's not a lot of detail and he's kind of using paint as kind of like his way to represent like the hand there and the leg. But then you have like this very solid illustration drawing part going on. It's it's yeah, it's really beautiful stuff. It's inspiring stuff, and it's like I don't work in color, but it makes me want to work in color. Um yeah. I'm a huge Bisley fan, so anytime I can get a Bisley book, uh you know, I pick it up because it's just great stuff. So, anyways, guys, thank you so much. I'm at 35 minutes here. It's actually a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be. Definitely pick this up yourself if you can. The format alone, I can't represent that to the video. I mean, obviously, it's quite large. I mean, I have small hands, but it's quite large. It feels like it's 11 by 17. I don't have any comic book paper with me right now, so I can't compare it. I probably should have done that beforehand, but I would definitely say pick it up. It's definitely inspiring. So I will see you guys in the next video, and check out some more Bisley if you can, because he's fucking awesome.